Hi knitters, welcome to the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am Devin Ventry and this is a podcast about making a handmade wardrobe. Please pardon my hair. I got out of the shower this morning and it was like I hadn't gotten all of the conditioner out. Have you ever had this happen? It was not good. I was like, I'm just gonna give up. I almost wore a hat, and this is a knitting podcast, so I feel like I could have pulled that off and that would have been okay. Anyway, I have a lot of things I want to talk to you about today. I plan on being a little bit more honest than I have been in the past. Not that I was lying before, I wasn't, but I was not disclosing everything on my mind. Not that people ought to disclose everything on their mind all the time. I think it's okay to not say stuff, but I got to a point where, and the thing I'm talking about, if you're watching this podcast, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the craziness in the knitting community. I got to a point where I wasn't knitting or sewing. And for me, that is like indicator number one of like depression. Like, this is not good for me. I am a project person. I'm always making something. I'm very creative. I've always been like that. And so for me to not be knitting or sewing, something was wrong. Like, I would go back to my office, my desk, and just sit there. And I would just sit there. Like, I had all these things that I could be working on, and I would just sit there and look at them. And I thought, I just can't do it. And it was like all that built up to a point where I wasn't doing anything. And up until now, my whole purpose for staying silent and not saying anything, I had a lot of reasons for staying silent. This is a knitting podcast. I wanted to talk to you guys about knitting. I include everyone all the time as a matter of course. That's how I live my life. So I didn't feel that I needed to discuss inclusion or inclusivity because it just was not an issue. However, as I'm sure that you know, Ravelry made a statement last June saying that all support of President Trump was tantamount to white supremacy, and therefore no support was allowed to be shown on the website. And I haven't said anything about this because, like I said, there's a lot of reasons. I didn't really want to talk politics. I still don't want to talk politics. I feel like, politics and religion are just topics that you don't discuss in polite company. But like I said, I got to that point where I didn't care if I lost my business because I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, the hobbies that I love the most held no appeal for me anymore. So at that point, who cares if you lose your business? Doesn't matter anymore. So anyway, I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but when this happened in June, I recognized that that was wrong. And I thought, it's not connected to my own politics, because whether it's a Republican or a Democrat in office, to say that you can't support the sitting president of the United States on our site is wrong. And obviously, we all have said they're in their rights to do that because it's their company. But then I have my rights to pull my patterns off, which is what I did very quietly. Most people didn't notice. I did it very quietly. It did sever some working relationships. That is what it is. I'm not going to do the wrong thing and allow the wrong thing to be done and be a part of it. I'm not going to do that. So, live and let live. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I have my own website. My patterns still appear on Ravelry, and then you're directed to my website to purchase them. I just don't sell my patterns there anymore. So that happened very quietly. And that was hard for me. It's been really hard. It's been hard for, I think, everyone in the industry, whether they admit it or not. It's been really hard since this all happened. And so a few weeks ago, Round Rabbit did a podcast, and I just discovered her. She's new to me. I just discovered her through this podcast where she talked about it. And I just loved what she said. Blue Mouse also had a good podcast on this, where everybody kind of, not everybody, but these two ladies and myself at the same moment kind of came to a point where we couldn't do it anymore. We just had had enough of it. And that was when I put it on Instagram that I supported the things that she said in her podcast. And I especially liked her podcast because she's so different from me. We did not agree on very many things. That's probably as close as I'm going to get to, revealing how I feel about politics, is that if you watch her, just about everything she says, I'm on the other side of that. But I still liked her. I don't dislike people because they're different from me. I don't have to silence people who say things that I disagree with. I'm okay with it. It's okay for you and I to disagree. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. So this is a lot of kind of verbal vomit coming up. It's just kind of all coming out. I've been talking about this a lot in my, life, but not with knitters, because it's just such a hot button issue and everybody's so keyed up about it. And people have lost their business. People have lost a lot. And I feel badly for not standing up for Maria of Tuscan Knits and Nathan of Sockmatician before now. I supported them both privately. I sent them emails giving them my support, or messages, but I did not support them publicly. And the reason I didn't is because I was afraid to do that. And not necessarily afraid of losing my business so much as afraid of the emotional pain that the attention of the hive being turned on me was just more than I could handle emotionally. I feel like the way it affected Nathan is how it would affect me. I think a lot of us creative types are very sensitive. And, if you don't like my work, that's fine. You're free to not buy it or not look at it. That's fine. But to be very personally attacked is just something I couldn't sign on for. And I have children and a family, and I didn't want to open them up to persecution, I guess. I still don't want that, but I kind of feel like the tide has turned a little bit. And maybe people are the angry, scary people who were attacking others and trying to put them out of business. I kind of feel like maybe they've moved on a little bit, I hope. I don't know. But anyway, I decided that actually it wasn't me. It was Homestead Shell, who is another Instagram person. Her name is Shelly. I think she lives in Colorado, presumably a homesteader. She said, we should do a knit along where we bring the joy back. And I was like, that's a good idea. I like that idea. I don't really do a lot of knit alongs, and I don't know if I can participate, but I love the idea. So I put it out there. It's hashtag JoyAlong2020. If you want to join in, all you do is post a picture of your plan, your whip, your FO. I don't care. Whatever part of what you're working on that brings you joy, use that hashtag, and it's from those hashtags that we will choose a winner at the end. And it's not just me who's choosing a winner. There are lots of other people who make stuff and sell stuff who are going to be choosing a winner also and mailing out a prize to them. And that's just fun. Anyway, the purpose of that is to bring the joy back into knitting. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to do this, I really kind of felt railroaded into this joy along, but I'm so glad that I was, because I would not have done it otherwise. That I just started knitting a hat that I had wanted to knit for my friend anyway. So I did that, And that helped. Also, around that same time, I decided that I was going to finish some of the projects that I had previously started, like stuff that I had started. So I had decided I wanted to make a Kelly Anorak, which is a pattern by Closet Case Patterns. Her patterns are amazing, by the way. And I had all this cut out for a while, and so I sat down and forced myself to sew. And I'll show that in a little bit. But those two things, knitting the Everywhere hat, which is a free pattern on my website, www.knittymcpurly.com. You can go get that pattern for free. And it's a great hat, by the way. I don't have it right here, but it just fits so well, and I love this hat. So I knit that hat and I sewed that jacket, and I got so much support from my Instagram posts that it healed my soul. So thank you all for your comments and for your support and for participating in the Joy Along. A lot of people were excited about that. A lot of people lost the joy. And so I'm really happy to see the joy come back for a lot of people. So, is there anything else I wanted to say about that? Oh, I lost a lot of followers. You like my Kim Dyes Yarn mug? Kim Dyes Yarn no longer follows me, but I still like the mug. And I still like Kim. I still like to be your friend, Kim, if we could. But Gigi got me this mug, and I still love it, and I'm drinking coffee out of it today. I lost about 200 followers at the time that I posted up that round rabbit thing, and I was very saddened by that people who, I don't know, I've corresponded with or known, felt that we couldn't be friends anymore. I don't know. But I got most of them back in different people, so that's good. Anyway, I don't even know. I might edit all that out. I don't know if I'll even put that all in. It's scary. But anyway, I'm probably going to be a little bit out of order today because I have just a lot of things I want to talk about. I really wanted to get, a podcast up because I haven't had one in a while, and I wanted to talk about this with you. I know there's a lot of support out there for people like me, and there's a lot of people like me out there, and I hope we can get together. And if you're not interested in getting together with me, fine. Please quietly unfollow and unsubscribe. And that is really what happened. I have to say that I did get a couple private messages when I put that up on Instagram, but everybody was very respectful. You know, even I didn't get any hate mail, which was really nice. So, okay, there is a coupon code up on my website for 15% off everything. And that's going to go on for however long. I don't know. It's I am beautiful 15. And the reason I use that coupon code is because I want you to have to type it out. I think that's nice. That's something that you should. Have you ever heard of password therapy, where you put something that's kind of hard for you and that you have to get used to, like forgiving someone, and you put that in your password, so you have to, continually type it in. Anyway, you don't have to type this coupon code in more than once, but anyway, there it is. Okay. One thing I wanted to say is about Tuscan Knits and about her humor. She is hilarious, and the people on her page who follow her are also hilarious. I printed this out because in case you are not on her mailing list and you're interested in getting on her mailing list, go sign up on her website. She put out, polarized knits, and I think it's a set of minis. So there's two sets, the woke set and the emotional labor set, like ocean, O-C-E-A-N, but emotional labor. The colors are called Gaslight, Sitting with My Discomfort, Problematic, Woke, and Microaggression. That's of the woke set. Now, of the emotional labor set, that's Echo Chamber, Othering, Emotional Labor, Purity Spiral, and Virtue Signal. And I just cracked up. Like, to me, that's just plain funny. I don't care where you sit on the political spectrum, but that's funny no matter who you are. And if you don't think it is, then your sense of humor is broken. So, okay, first segment is going to be what Gigi made. Gigi, you want to come around here? Come around this side, and you can show what you made. Gigi has been knitting, and also she has a piece of art that she wants to show you. Can you just like slide your butt down in there?
Okay.
There we go. That's perfect. There.
Why does it flip me? I'm on the right side. It feels like I'm alive.
It just does that. I don't know. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Okay, so show us. What did you make? Oh, so, this is one of our knitting fantasies, and this pattern is called the Pretty Izzi
Dolls.
Go ahead, Pretty
Izzi Dolls
by Esther Braithwaite. Go ahead and show us.
Here is my doll. She is so cute, and we actually used real makeup for her cheeks.
Yes. So in this pattern, which is free, there are, gosh, why can't I hold it in the middle? There are directions for how to do this curly hair.
Can I tell it?
Please, why am I talking? You're here. Go ahead.
Okay, so what you have to do for the curly hair is you tie it on a skewer, and then you wrap it. And then at the end, you just hold it.
You get it wet.
And no, once you've wrapped it, you hold the end, and then wet it. Then stick it on a baking sheet, and then you bake it at 200 degrees for half an hour.
And then you get these little curlies.
Well, then you have to wait for them to fully cool.
True, yes.
But then you unwind them, take a long strand, thread it through the crochet hook, and Mom did this part, and you pull it through and tie it with a bow. And she never really looks like a doll until the very end.
Right, you want to tell how she's made. You can see her little Mary Janes.
So her head looks like this big, and the hair looks this big, and it looks like, oh no, it's never gonna work.
So
but it does.
You cast on with the shoes, and you knit in the round, and you just knit a round tube all the way to the top.
Like flat, but then you have to knit front and back.
There are directions for knitting either in the round or knitting flat, and this is just a great little pattern. And then tell us what we did here with the legs.
So she's just a cylinder, and then you stitch her feet together.
I'll hold it because then you can
And you stitch her arms together, and then you pick up the stitches at the bottom of her dress and knit, and then purl bind off.
You get a little ruffly dress.
And then her head just goes straight in.
Yeah, you there's like a running stitch through there.
Yeah, with skin color.
And what we did for these cheeks, you want to tell?
We just took some of Mom's pink makeup, and we took a Q-tip and just did the little circles on her cheeks.
Isn't that so cute? So, did we find this on Ravelry? I think we got this on Ravelry.
Yes, we did.
And it's a free pattern.
Yeah, it is free. Although the next one I'm going to do, she's going to have like a purple dress tutu.
I'm laughing because I'm scratching my armpits.
Oh. I was like, why are you laughing?
It's kind of weird.
She's gonna have a purple dress and like a fountainhead hairstyle.
Oh yeah, and little ties. It's so cute.
Yeah, and the hair couldn't come out easily because it's threaded through the stitch and then tied with a bow.
Yeah, it's in there real good.
Yeah, it's a double knot and a double bow, so
yeah.
I don't think you could get it undone easily.
All right, good job, Gigi. Looks awesome. Do you want to show us your art too?
Sure.
Do you show us your reference photo?
Here
first.
was my reference photo. I searched up this picture, and it is just the cutest.
So we've got a little girl kissing a lamb.
So that was what I was trying to draw.
Yeah, and I actually like what you actually drew even better.
And I didn't like that background they had. You want to show it again?
See it again?
It was just hard to draw.
It's just got a lot kind of going on with it, so you simplified it a little bit.
And here's what I drew.
Yeah, there we go. Go a little closer. There you go. Good job. So you drew this with chalk pastels in your art class.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Rice, who's amazing, most amazing art teacher ever.
Like, I didn't know how to do the hay. Here, I didn't know how to do the hay.
Hold it.
So, what I did for the hay was I took a dark brown pastel and rubbed it, then did the strands.
Oh, I see. So that it would be brown in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I did it.
Cool, I love it.
But at first, before I had put the little girl cheek, her big little cheek in, and the cute little lamb,
really
it sort of looked, and I had colored in the lamb, it just It looks like an old possessed witch trying to murder a sheep. Like, come here.
I'm glad you fixed it because I wouldn't want that picture in my house.
Yeah, I know.
All right, thank you, Gigi. Can you extract yourself carefully?
Yes.
Without taking down any equipment?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you. I'll keep your sister peaceful. Okay. Let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Should we do sewing? I only have a little bit of sewing, and it's the Kelly Anorak I want to show you. And that kind of will bridge the gap between this and my next segment. So this is the Kelly Anorak. Now I'm kind of close up here, and my back's to the wall. So now, if you want to see a couple good pictures of this, you can look on my Instagram. But this has some really cool hardware. I bought the hardware kit from Closet Case. You can get on their website, and they have these kits that has all the hardware. I think it's like maybe $18, which is a really good price because it has the tool for setting in the snaps, and there's a grommet right here. You need a tool to set that in. And then it's got this little slider for the drawstring and this little, piece on the end. So my thoughts on this pattern. First of all, Closet Case is amazing. I have made several of her patterns. They're not the simplest. She may have some that are more simple. She's the one who did the ginger jeans that are so popular. I have not made those yet. But this is my magnum opus of sewing. Like, I have never made anything quite as complicated as this before. And it wasn't that hard. It just took time. It took, probably took a week to get it all prepared, cut out, interfaced and all that, because a lot of these pieces have interfacing on them. And I did do the lined version. You can do this also unlined, where you just finish all the seams on the inside. I think they use bias tape, but I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I used a wool fabric for the black because I wanted it to be a warmer coat, more of a winter coat than a spring coat. And this fabric is my very favorite, the Squirrely McPurly. This fabric has actually been discontinued. Can you believe that? Cotton and Steel discontinued this fabric. I don't know what they were thinking. It's so fabulous. They do still have this one. Oh, here, I'll show you this. They do still have this one, which is also super cute. It's the same, but it's not yellow and pink. This every time, you guys, it's yellow, and they have little pink cheeks. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. So now this is just regular quilting cotton that I used for the lining. So in the sleeves, and I do this with, I've done this with two coats that I've made. I've also made the Joy jacket, where I just got like a black acetate to line the sleeve so that, it's easy to slide your sleeve in and out of there. Whereas this is not very slippery. So this is more for decoration. And also, this fabric tends to be more expensive. This lining fabric is super cheap. And you can just, get a little bit of that, like a quarter yard or a half yard, I think, is what I got just to line those sleeves. It is rife with mistakes, but I don't notice them. And that's what makes it special. Like, I don't know. I'm okay with mistakes. It just doesn't bother me. So that is that. I do love this coat. I wear it all the time. I get lots of compliments on it. And I definitely will make more Closet Case patterns because they are wonderful. I want to talk a little bit about a shop update I have coming soon. But before I do, there are a few McPurly pouches that are available in the shop. My last two updates had so many pouches, and I only have a few left. So this one is the chevron with yellow, and I think it's yellow on the inside too. There's some paper in there, but it's got a yellow lining that's super pretty. This one, and I have a couple of these whaley ones. Toward the middle. Okay, so this has a gray faux leather label. And the inside is lined with orange. I love blue and orange and yellow. You guys know how I feel about that. And this fabric is so amazing. It's called Rich Man's Coat because my oldest daughter felt it and was like, it feels like a rich man's coat, like from like the Renaissance or something. But this is a piece of upholstery fabric, so it's really heavy duty. It's very thick. I think this has a red dotted lining on the inside. So these are ones that I currently have in stock. You can go and buy these right now. I'm pretty sure that the I Am Beautiful 15 works on everything in the shop. I'm pretty sure. If it doesn't and you want 15% off of these, then let me know. The shop update that I have coming up, I'm going to have lots of these Squirrely McPurly pouches. So this shop update is not quite as large. Here's where I am on those. This is kind of how they look at the beginning. There's like 15 or so. It's not nearly as big as some of the updates that I've had before. Here is one that I have done, and you can see it's got the yellow cabochon. I still don't know how to say that word. My daughter, my oldest daughter, won her school spelling bee, and cabochon or cabochon or whatever, cabochon, whatever that is, was one of her words. So this one is one that is not available in the shop yet, but this is a Squirrely McPurly, and it has the blue on the inside. And this is in Rich Man's Coat. And I also picked up some mini lint brushes to include with, I don't know if I'm probably going to make these an add-on option, but this is just a tiny little lint brush that you can then fold up and stick in there. So, you can just be like, oh, don't mind me, I'm just brushing my McPurly pouch. It felt a little pretentious, but I still kind of like it. It just looks so pretty. I don't know. Am I weird? But yeah, I'll probably have these as an optional add-on to your McPurly pouch. So I'm going to have the Squirrely McPurly pouches, and you may have noticed that I am currently out of the acorn necklaces, but I have a lot more coming because those have been so popular. I'm going to do a gift set, a McPurly pouch with an acorn necklace of your color choice. They come in antique bronze and silver. And I think the price is going to be $42. So you can get the pouch and the necklace, which is a good savings off what they would cost separately. So that is coming up. If you would like to hear about that, sign up for my newsletter on my website. If you just go there and wait a second, a little pop-up will come up and you can sign up for the newsletter if you have not already. Lagniappes. It has been so fun studying for the regional spelling bee with my daughter. I have learned so many new words, and one of them is lagniappe. A lagniappe is a gift that is given to you by a business as a thank you. And so we put together these little lagniappes. There is a Knitty McPurly pin, like a button, a sticker, and that just goes in a little thing with my card there. And my son put these together. He just loves doing them. He's always like, Mom, can I help you with your website? What can I do? So he put my lagniappes together. So as long as I have them, as long as they're in stock, I will be including one with every order that goes out. So if you want a cute knitter pin on your bag, she's just so cute. She's got her armfuls of yarn and her hat and her sweater and mittens and her stitch marker necklace. And that is, she's wearing the Alexis necklace in silver. So I think she's so cute. Okay. The big news, at least for me, this is my big news. I don't know if you'll think that it's big or not. I have been planning on writing a book, and I've wanted to write a book forever and ever. I really wanted to do a book. But it's such a big, daunting project, and with all this other kind of emotional upheaval that was going on, I found myself putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and I have a lot of patterns that are either done or almost done. But I don't know, I just kept feeling like I was running into walls with this book project. And so I put out a little poll on my Instagram saying, how do you prefer to buy knitting patterns? Do you prefer to buy the book or to buy the individual pattern? I almost always want to buy an individual pattern. If I want a book, I still feel like it's just not as easy to use a book and if I do, I end up photocopying that page and carrying the photocopy around with me. Do you guys do that? So that I'm not carrying a book around with me, with my knitting. So the results of that poll were overwhelmingly in favor of individual patterns. It was like 98% of the voters. And there were like 400 people who voted. 98% of them preferred an individual pattern. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to scrap the book idea and I'm going to publish these patterns individually. And I felt like a huge weight was lifted. It was like, oh, thank goodness. I did have some yarn dyers donate yarn for the book. And I'm still going to be publishing those patterns. So we're all good. I am using a lot of Kim Dye's yarn. I still like her. Like I said, I still like her yarn. I still think that she's amazingly talented. And I hope in another life we can still be friends. So anyway, okay. Let me talk about some yarn acquisitions and a new pattern I just started. Again, I know I normally have a flow to my podcast. This one's a little bit all over the place. But do you really care? I mean, we're just sitting down knitting, right? That's what we're doing. So my local yarn store is called Needles in the Haymarket, and it's run by a lovely lady named Marty. She's wonderful. And I went in there the other day because Gigi wanted to get yarn for her pretty Izzi doll. And I don't know about you guys. Do you feel like there are some times when you're very frugal? Like when I'm yarn shopping online, I'm frugal. I'm like, I put stuff in my cart and then I take it out and I kind of agonize over a little bit. But for some reason, at the yarn store or at a fiber festival, all my inhibitions go out of the water. I'm just completely all in for all the yarn. So I picked up a couple skeins of sock yarn. Isn't that pretty? I don't do a lot of speckles, but I just thought that was so pretty. And this is by 3 Irish girls. This is their Adorn Luxe, and the colorway is called Bless Your Heart. I just thought that was super pretty. So I had an idea. And this is something I'm going to be working on along with getting my book published patterns out, but these are all just going to be individually published patterns. I wanted to do some different socks that were animals, because I've seen my kids have socks like this, store-bought socks where they're like animals, where the sock has ears and a tail, and they're just so cute. And I'm like, that is adorable. I would totally wear those socks. So I've got a couple ideas coming up. And I also bought this one from Fairy Tale Knits. This base is called Dobby Sock. It's an 80-10-10 cashmere nylon, superwash merino. And I love the color name. This is called Vader's Underwear. We all know what he's got on under that black outfit. But these are super pretty together. And this one I'm working on right now. If you have been following me for a long time, I know a lot of you have, thank you so much. I used to have an audio podcast, and I was talking about Anzula Squishy. And actually, how long ago? I feel like I have been dreaming about this yarn forever and ever. And I've never seen it anywhere. I've never been at a place where they've had it. I've seen it online, but it's, how yarn is, it's expensive. And I'm like, I can't, spend $35 on a skein of yarn if I can't see it. But this is Anzula Squishy, and this color is called Au Naturel. It's just, kind of an off-white color. And I had an idea for some socks that are a polar bear. I haven't done any of the fun part yet, but this is basically what I've got so far. This is garter in the front. There's a cuff here, and there's garter down the front. Now, the row gauge between garter and stockinette is off, okay? But don't worry, because when these are blocked, it will all even out. The garter will stretch, and it will be perfect. My bear sock pattern, ironically, these are going to be the polar bear socks. Maybe the squishy polar bear socks, I don't know, because of Anzola squishy, I don't know. Anyway, the polar bear socks are the same way, the bear socks are the same way, which is a pattern that I knit with Barrett wool, and we had kits out for that. The front of it, the row gauge is just tighter than stockinette, but in the end, once you put these on your feet, it will not be a problem. You don't need to worry about it. So anyway, these have a slip stitch heel, and because these socks, I got a thread on there. Because these socks are so simple, I decided to add to the arch a slip stitch arch. And what this does is it just kind of pulls the sock in a little bit at the arch, because that's kind of the thinnest part of your foot, the heel and the toe being wider. I really like this in a sock. I haven't put it in any of my sock patterns yet, just because I don't want to add more complexity, but this pattern is going to be very simple. So this is going to be a bear. It's going to have, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet, but it's going to be a bear. So keep your eye out for that if you're interested in that. And I'm working on that now. And I'm also working on some sweaters, just kind of putting the final touches on them so that I can get them out to you, published as individual patterns. I feel so much better knowing that that's how they're going out. That fills me with joy. So new yarn fills me with joy too. I'm a budget person. Like, I'm not a person who buys huge quantities of yarn. I work on a budget. So for me to get three skeins of yarn is really nice. It's a big deal. So that was really fun. Okay, knitting fantasies. Let's do that. So I decided that it would be fun, I'm gonna get my computer, if instead of looking on Ravelry, which is where I typically look for my knitting fantasies, I thought maybe I'll look on Etsy. And that was very eye-opening. I don't know where you buy your patterns. You can get them on Etsy, you can get them on Ravelry, you can get them on, a lot of people sell their patterns through their own site. I do that. Andrea Mowry sells them through her own site. She also sells on Ravelry, but if you wanted to buy them off Ravelry, you also could do that, and that's kind of nice. But looking on Etsy was very eye-opening because it's all different stuff. It was stuff I hadn't seen before. I felt that overall it was simpler stuff, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not, but I was able to find a handful of patterns that I liked. The first one I bought. So I'm going to show you this. Now, you should know that in our house, we don't have cats or dogs. We have guinea pigs. So when we saw Gordon the Guinea Pig by Trish Roberts, I had to have him. Isn't he so cute? Now, Gordon is interesting. We originally bought him for Gigi to knit, but you knit his head using intarsia. If you're not familiar with intarsia, it's not difficult, but it does take a bit of coordinating, where you basically you need to have a ball of yarn to work this side, a ball of yarn to work this side, and the other side of his head is this color again. You need a separate ball of yarn to work that side. So intarsia is where you're working colors, but you're not stranding, where you would carry the floats along behind the white. So intarsia is just worked a little bit differently. So I think I'm the one who is going to be tasked with making Gordon, but we just thought he was so cute. So I purchased him on Etsy. I feel like it was maybe $3 or $4. It was not a very expensive pattern, but it's got a lot of detail. Looks like a very well-written pattern. Yeah, looks great. The pretty Izzi Dolls that we got this one on Ravelry, and this one was free. I really cannot say enough good about this pattern. I'm gonna hold it up because, like I said, It is free. And you can see she has a bunch of different ones there. They're so cute. So this is just a really well-written pattern. It has directions for fingering, DK, sport, and worsted. You can knit it flat or in the round, and there's complete directions for both. One thing I loved is all the detail in the finishing. A lot of times a toy pattern will just say, make your face look like this. But she has directions on how to make the eyes look like that, and how to do the curly hair and the braided hair, and how to attach the yarn. And it's a really, really good pattern. And it's simple enough that a 10-year-old can knit it. So now, full disclosure, I did help her with the making up and the finishing. But she knit the whole thing by herself, and I helped her pick up the stitches around the middle. But that is nice when your mom is a knitter and can help you. So, okay, these are my knitting fantasies. I'm going to read them off my computer, and I will put a picture up on the screen. My first pick is the Alice Mitts knitting pattern, and this is by Helen Gray Designs. And this is a really cute fingerless mitts pattern with stranded knitting. It's like a Fair Isle floral pattern. It's very, very pretty. I don't know if it includes directions for a finished hand. It looks like they're all fingerless. This pattern is $3.34. But anyway, that's beautiful. My second pick is called the Ebony Women's Tunic knitting pattern, and this is an $8 pattern for a tunic. It is by Minimi Knit Design, and I like the design of it a lot. It has a shawl collar and a textured shoulder section. It's a tunic, so it's longer, and it has pockets. So I like a lot of what's going on here. The one in the picture, I don't love the yarn choice or the color. To me, this yarn has more stitch definition than I would like to see in a tunic. I would love to see like this in like a woolen spun, like a Brooklyn tweed would be amazing. And not black. I don't know. I don't care for the black. I don't know. I almost think it's not the color. I think it's the yarn that I don't care for, but I do really like this pattern. I think it's nice, and that is $8. Okay, my next pick is called the Evermore Top-Down Sweater knitting pattern, and it is by Caidree, Caidree. I like this. I want to say, what does this use? It has an I-cord finish, which, like I've said before, is not my favorite, but it does look nice. It has a specific yarn. It says Brushmere Cardiff Cashmere color, and you knit on a 10.5 needle, but it doesn't say. I'd have to look up that yarn to see what the weight of it is, but it looks bulky. Looks like a chunky or a bulky. And that's like a V-neck top-down sweater, and it has like a lace pattern. It looks like along the sleeves and along the bottom. So that's very pretty. I have two more. Okay. If you are a fan of Outlander, there is a ton of amazing knitting in that show. I have thought many times that something Claire is wearing, I would love to own. And the one shawl, her rent shawl, I don't know why it's called rent shawl. Maybe that's where she collects the rents. I don't know. It's just a garter stitch shawl. This is by Knitsy Blonde, spelled like Ditsy, but Knitsy. And this is a $10 pattern, which for a garter stitch shawl is too much. Like, she's just asking too much. This is about double the price of what it should be. It's just a garter stitch triangle shawl. It's lovely. I like it a lot, but I would not pay $10 for it. That's asking too much. Okay, my last one is called the Bromefields Decisiveness Knit Cocoon Sweater Oversized Knitting Pattern. This is by Bromefields. Decisiveness might be the name of the pattern. Comes in 18 sizes. It is a beginner level. This is a cocoon sweater, very much like my Canyon cardigan, if you have made that. And this is made with super bulky yarn. It looks super comfy and easy to make. And this is a $4.99 pattern. Great price, excellent. So those are my picks. It was super fun looking on Etsy this time. I think I might do it again. If anybody has any other suggestions about where to find patterns, feel free to let me know. Yeah, so anyway, there's that. What else did I want to talk about? Was that everything? I think that was everything. I'm at like 45 minutes, so that sounds good. Thank you all so much for following along with me. Please follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like this video, and if you click the little bell, then you'll get notifications when I have videos, which is almost never, so you won't get that much email. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you guys. Can't wait to hear what you have to say in the comments. Thank you. Bye. Bye, knitters. Hi, knitters. Welcome to the Knitty McPurly podcast. I am Devin, and I got a lot of fun stuff I want to talk with you about today. So let's try that. Okay, sound check. 1, 2, 3. Let's see how this sounds.